Whack An Atheist Wednesday, where we are going to tonight whack Creepy Blind Man, who gets the prize.
A prize? Oh my God, I am so excited. I've never won anything in my life. Well, that's not strictly true. I mean, I do win every argument I have with clowns like Kent Hovind. Anyway, Kent has featured me in a video again. I'm so lucky. Not only have I just hit 69,000 subscribers, but I've just been whacked off by a 69-year-old man. It's like my birthday and Christmas have both come at the same time. Huh?
It's Whack An Atheist, not Whack Off An Atheist.
Ah. Please subscribe.
You're watching The Creaky Blinder.
You get it, son, okay? He makes fun of us all the time. Makes fun of Matt Powell, Dr. Clown Hovind. There's Creepy right there. Now, what is this? What on earth happened here?
Well, nothing actually happened, Kent, although I do appreciate the concern. They're called gauges or tunnels. It's a cool thing, Kent, you probably wouldn't understand. And as I said in the short video I made a few weeks ago, you really do seem obsessed with my ears. Kind of creepy, if you don't mind me saying. Anyway, I don't think Kent is very happy with me at the moment. I think I've got him and Matt right in the feels. Now, Mrs. Blinder has been telling me for 30 years that I'm very annoying, and I'm starting to think she might be right. But with that being said, I do feel kind of bad for Kent and Matt. I mean, who likes being made a fool of on a public platform?
What? Oh, no. Oh, I know. These are called a choke ring antenna. It's a particular form of omnidirectional antenna he keeps in his ears for use at high frequency. It's used for keeping those brainwashed by the evolution religion from thinking.
What? Were you saying something then? I think there was a bit of interference coming in from the old loop ring antennas.
Open invitation. I'll debate you and all 10 of your evolutionary friends.
First of all, I didn't ask to debate you. And secondly, if I brought my friends with me, that would be a mass debate. And whilst that might be right up your alley, Kent, I'm not sure I'd be totally comfortable rubbing one out in company. And if you want to know why I will never debate Mr. Hovind, then check out this video, which is linked below. It's the story of the donkey and the tiger. Don't worry, it will make sense. Just watch it next. Anyway, hypothetically speaking, if we were to have a mass debate, where would we do it?
On Standing for Truth any day, okay? They're honest, fair moderator, and they will give equal time and shut off your mic when it's my turn and shut off my mic when it's your turn.
Standing for Truth? You mean Donnie, the other young earth creationist guy, whose nose is so far up your ass, I can't tell where he ends and you begin? Oh yeah, that sounds really impartial, Kent. I'm sure he isn't even slightly biased when it comes to the age of the earth, is he?
Equal time for both sides, no interrupting and no cursing. Creepy? Call him. You're on the list, I think. Isn't he on the list Standing for Truth for refusing to debate?
Nice chicken impression. And you're right. I did say no when Donnie reached out to invite me onto his very unbiased platform to debate a guy that believes exactly the same thing as him. But it wasn't because I'm a chicken. I was washing my hair that night.
Now, the nose ring, I figured out, I Googled it. It said this is
a nose ring. Well done, Kent. You can identify body piercings. Your prize is on the way. Just as soon as I can figure out how to shit in an envelope without getting the sticky strips stuck to my arse hair. Now look, far be it from me to criticize another human being. Isn't it usually the case that when someone destroys your arguments as amazingly as I do to you, Kent, you actually then go on to try and prove them wrong? And so far all you've done is make fun of my physical appearance. I thought you never needed to use ad hominem attacks, Kent, as your arguments were so incredibly watertight.
to deter the booger man. No scientific studies have been done.
Sorry, I hate interrupting people, but that actually says bugger man. And as I've said many times before, Kent, what two consenting male adults get up to in the privacy of Dinosaur Adventureland is none of my business. Pro tip, best way to avoid the bugger man is to never sleep face down.
Welcome to Whack An Atheist, folks. All the SpongeBob beside me here. You guys have a wild imagination. This is Dr. Kent, the science gent.
More like Dr. Dick, the creationist prick.
Yeah, they don't like that. Some narrow-minded bigots object to me being called doctor.
Because you're not, Kent. It's really that simple.
I didn't get my degrees from their approved indoctrination centers. I don't care what they think. I identify as doctor. Some of them identify as something they're not, don't they? Yeah, okay.
You couldn't resist getting a jab in at trans people, could you? Why? What does that achieve apart from highlighting something that we already know about you, that you're an intolerant dick?
Let's focus on the real debate. Matt, they've been talking about you having a big banana in your backyard. You don't even have a backyard. But Dr. Peel, what is all this about?
Oh, me, I know. Well, once upon a time, a long time ago, or maybe last year, I can't actually remember, Simon Dan was making a video about young Earth creationists, and he wanted to make a claim of comedy value that was so completely insane. I'm sure you can understand that, Kent. And the claim he made was that Matt Powell has a giant inflatable banana in his backyard that he calls Dr. Peel. It's a joke, Kent. That's probably why you don't understand it. Although being a joke yourself, you should.
Best they can do. They're so desperate to discredit you and I. Oh, yeah, crazy. Okay.
No, it's not that. You and Matt discredit yourselves every time you upload a video to YouTube. As I just said, it was more about using humour to highlight the insanity of creationism by giving an example claim that is so ridiculous nobody would believe it. You know, like young Earth creationists do all the time.
Whack An Atheist Wednesday. I wear red just to, well, you know.
I'm not a smart man.
Please don't smile like that again, it's very disconcerting. And if you think that's red, Ken, you may be colourblind, which goes quite nicely with you being blind to honesty and the truth. It suits you.
We believe dinosaurs lived with man. God made everything in 6 days. And evolution is the dumbest, and most dangerous religious cult in the history of the world.
See what I mean? I'm not even going to dignify that with a response.
It's a mental illness to believe you are related and you came from a rock, and you do believe that, Creepy.
How do you know what I do and don't believe, Ken? That's a pretty bold claim, even for you. As I have said multiple times, when it comes to the age of the Earth and how it got here, belief has got nothing to do with it. That's what science is for. And I mean real science, not creation science. Only a complete moron of the highest caliber would be stupid enough or willing enough to lie to themselves when everything we know, yes, Kent, I said no, about the age of the Earth tells us otherwise. The Earth is not 6,000 years old, unlike your arguments, Kent, which are all very old, very boring, and very outdated. And most importantly, all completely wrong. It must absolutely kill you, Kent, that an idiot like me can refute every word that comes out of your mouth. I mean, look at me. Tattoos on my face, stretched ears, and a nose piercing. And I'm still way more intelligent than a guy who deliberately scams people for a living and prefixes his name with DR initials, even though his degree has about as much value or use as a glass hammer.
It seems today that the atheistic movement is completely ignorant about their theory of origins.
Right, Matty boy. First of all, evolution in this context is both a fact and a theory. It's an incontrovertible fact that organisms have changed or evolved during the history of life on Earth. Just quickly before Dr. Dickhead chimes in again, I wanted to say a big thank you to AJ Atheist Jr. for re-editing the video Kent is playing. And he did it for a couple of reasons. The first one was because it isn't my full original video. Matt Powell edited out the bits that they obviously couldn't answer, and my audio was so low that you could barely hear me. So thanks, AJ. Head over and give him a subscribe. Tell him Creaky sent you. Right, go on then, Kent. You turn again.
Creepy. It's an incontrovertible fact that they've changed within limits, okay? Within limits. There are now 400 species of cows. They're still a cow.
Right. Have you got all the ad hominem attacks out of your system yet? Or do you need more time? And secondly, remember I said just now that your arguments haven't changed in years? Well, there you go. Yeah, we know cows produce cows, but all cattle are descended from as few as 80 animals that were domesticated from wild ox about 10,500 years ago. And according to a new genetic study by an international team of actual scientists from the CNRS and the National Museum of Natural History in France, so is an ox a cow, Kent, or is it something else?
There are 4,000 varieties of potato. They're still potato.
Yeah, and you'd know, wouldn't you? You film your videos on one. Come on, Kent, sort it out, will you? At this rate, I'm going to have to stop making videos about you. Your lack of production offends me.
Yes, there are changes and variations within the same kind. There are 167 species of ducks. They're still duck. So that does not prove ducks and potatoes are related to tomatoes and pine trees and everything else, and cows. You guys don't get it. I don't know how. Change the frequency on those antennas in your ear, son, okay? You're not getting it.
Well, for once, you're right. I'm not getting it. But allow me to expand on why that is. What I don't get is how a man of your age with your supposed scientific education can possibly think that the species we see today haven't evolved from other species, especially given the huge amounts of evidence that show that to be the case. And I know you'll say what evidence, but it doesn't matter, because under every circumstance in the discussion about the age of the Earth, I will always be right, and you will always be wrong. And I bet that kills you, doesn't it? Because I think you know that pretty much everything you say is a blatant lie, and you're too far gone to ever admit it, which is another reason why I would never debate you, Ken.
Yes, there's changes have happened, but they're limited.
What does that mean, though? Limited to what? And those changes are called evolution, Ken, as you well know.
This is what you guys just don't get. You see these changes, they're still the same kind of animal, and you go wild and think, whoa, this proves everything's related. You're nuts.
Hey, what about my nuts? The only thing they related to is me. And I know this is a completely pointless thing to say, but no one is trying to say that everything is related. Well, that's not strictly true, I suppose, because given the young Earth creationist idea of how mankind came to be, we would then all be related, because Adam and Eve. And you do that a lot, don't you, Ken? You say evolutionists, whatever the hell an evolutionist is, but you say that evolutionists claim that we came from rocks, when in reality, that's what you believe, that God created man out of the dust from the ground. Just thought I would point that out.
Okay, crazy, loony, okay?
And biologists have identified and investigated mechanisms that can explain the major patterns of change.
I agree. They have investigated and have found what causes these changes. Aha, genetic code. They're still limited. They don't get it. I don't know how to get you to not be so dumb on this, okay?
Now, it's interesting that you bring up genetics, Ken, because I've got another question for you to answer. So, I don't think you've ever said that you don't believe that genetics are a thing. So, if you accept genetics, which is why we resemble our parents, then why don't we look exactly the same as our parents? Because we should, if there's no such thing as evolution. Each generation would look exactly the same. The same genetic makeup, everything should be exactly the same. Unless, of course, each generation ever so slightly evolves in some way. What do you think, Ken?
Yes, there's variations. They've been trying for a long time to get bigger and bigger cows, haven't they? Get more beef. Do you think they'll ever get a cow as big as Texas? Or you think there might be a limit in there someplace?
I can't help but notice, Kent, that so far, and we're only 5 minutes into our episode of Whack An Atheist, but I can't help but notice that you keep banging on about cows for some reason, when I made absolutely no mention of cows in my original video. Diversion tactics, maybe? Because you actually have no idea how to refute any of the things I said in my video. This is what you do, Kent. You never actually address the points people have made. You just do what you've been doing for the last 30 years and repeat, cows produce cows, dogs produce dogs. The parents of young Earth creationists produce idiots. But the one thing you never do is refute any of the arguments made against you. Is it because you can't?
They would get cows to give more milk. I took my students in Kankakee that year. The farmer up there had the world record holder for giving 100 pounds of milk a day. Utterly ridiculous. We got to see the cow, okay? Do you think they'll ever get a cow that'll give 5,000 tons of milk a day? Or is there a limit in there someplace, Creepy? Come on.
Okay, fine, yes, there's obviously a limit. Cows only grow to a certain size and are only capable of producing a certain amount of milk based on their size. But the bigger question is, what sets that limit, Ken? Is it maybe that cows evolved that way?
Come on now. Use your head.
Now, if you want to talk about theories which are suppositions or systems of ideas intended to explain something, then maybe you should be looking a little bit closer to home. And by home, I mean the biblical version of how we got here. Because there is literally zero evidence that supports anything you and all other young Earth creationists believe.
There's zero evidence to support that. Well, let's see. How do I get to my slides here, brother? All right. PowerPoint.
Now, while Kent tries to figure out how to work PowerPoint, you know, that piece of software he's been using forever, I feel the need to point out that if Matt was able to edit out the bits of my video that they didn't fancy responding to, why the hell doesn't he edit out Kent being an old man technophobe?
There's zero evidence. Let's see. Well, the Bible says...
So I'm right then, Ken. Zero evidence. The Bible says. What a clown. The Bible isn't a science book, is it, you donkey? Okay, go on then, let's hear this so-called evidence from the Bible telling us that everything in the Bible is literal.
I can show you here. That they will always bring forth after their kind. Okay, Creepy, do you know any examples where any animal has ever brought forth something that wasn't the same kind?
Well, given the fact that even you can't define what a kind is, Kent, how the hell am I meant to answer that?
Can you show me an example? What do you mean nothing's ever been proven? That's proven pretty well, isn't it? I think that's very reasonable.
Yeah, you would. If I held this cup up and said, I know it's a cup because this cup told me it was a cup, would that make sense? Because that's essentially what you're saying when you say that the Bible proves that the Bible is true. And you call yourself a man of science, but you constantly demonstrate that you have no idea how science works. If you were as confident in your beliefs as you claim to be, then you would want to look for alternative sources to back up your claims, but you don't.
Matt, help me out. What's happening here?
Now, this should come as no surprise to us as Bible-believing Christians, that they would be ignorant of their own theories.
Are we? Well, that's news to me and probably everyone else that isn't a young earth creationist, because for a group of people that you claim to be ignorant, we seem pretty good at explaining how earth became what it is today.
You seem pretty good at making up a story. A fairy tale. Yes, boys and girls, billions of years ago, the earth cooled down to a hot ball of rock.
Cooled down to a hot ball of rock, okay? I always thought that when things got cooled, they got cooler as they cool. But hey, I'm just a big dum-dum that accepts science, so what the hell do I know?
And then it got cooler and cooler, and slowly clouds formed and it began to rain on the rocks, and made soup out of them, and the soup came alive. Fairy tale.
Soup. My favourite's leek and potato, and no, it's not because I'm Welsh, we do eat other stuff as well. Kent, stop being a child and at least try to address my points instead of just bypassing them. I mean, you always say I'm a complete idiot and I'm stupid, so I don't understand why you have so much difficulty in refuting the things I say. And the best thing about our explanations is that they're supported by huge amounts of evidence.
Well, Creepy, call standing for truth and present the evidence. That's what the whole series is about. They're doing. Where's the evidence for evolution? You say there's so much evidence. Well, show me one. Bring the best three you know of as evidence for why do you think a banana and an elephant are related?
Have I ever said that I think a banana and an elephant are related? No. And when it comes to a debate, I think my shirt says it all, Ken. I would rather shit in my hands and clap than have a conversation with you. No one thinks that a banana and an elephant are related. Sorry, Kent, you're going to have to try a lot harder than that. I wonder if any young earth creationists will suddenly realize that the reason nobody takes them seriously is because when pressed to provide at least some sort of evidence for their witless ideas about the origins of the earth, they just say it's true because the Bible tells us it's true. And that's exactly what they do. We all see them doing it over and over again. So Kent's response should be very interesting because unless he agrees with me, then he's just a liar. What I just said was a statement of fact, not a guess, not a supposition, a fact. Kent even did it himself a few minutes ago when he said cows produce cows. Because that's what the Bible tells us. So what? The Bible isn't a science book, Ken, in the same way as you aren't a scientist, which probably explains why you love it so much.
That's not true, Creepy. Quit lying about us.
But you literally said it a few minutes ago.
It is true that the Bible tells us it's true.
You just said, Creepy, stop lying about us, and then immediately said it's true that the Bible tells us. Nice job, Ken.
But it's also true that all of humanity in all of history has observed cows produce cows, without exception.
you're getting really boring now, and I actually like people to be entertained by my videos, and you've said cows produce cows multiple times. So let's hear something new, shall we?
Loony.
But sadly, that isn't really how this sort of thing works. Well, sadly for young Earth creationists anyway. It's great for us.
According to evolutionary theory, according to chemical evolution, we actually descended from rocks.
No, we didn't. And as Aaron Ra said at the beginning of your video, which was a clip from my video when I interviewed Aaron, nobody says that at all.
Did we just show you quotes right from their magazines and journals that says, yes, we came from a rock?
No, you didn't. You showed clips that you then misrepresented. I thought Christians were meant to be good, honest, God-fearing people. Bad Kent.
Now, I know that the atheistic movement and the online skeptics will say that they do not believe this at all, but they are just showing their ignorance about their own creation story.
I don't think we are. All we are showing is an understanding of evolution that a pea-brained moron like you could never even begin to comprehend.
Matt, I'm guessing he doesn't like you.
No, you don't have to guess, Kent. I don't like Matt, or you, or any other young Earth creationists, because they are without doubt some of the most gullible and dishonest people I've ever come across in my life. So yeah, hope that clears it up.
Now, I can trade insults with the best of them, Creepy. So if you want to insult Matt or me, that's fine. Bring it on. Get on Standing for Truth, equal time, and give your evidence for evolution. You keep saying there's so much of it. Well, show me some.
Why would I need to go on Standing for Truth to insult you, Kent? I can do that right here on my own channel, for the amusement of myself and the tens of thousands of people that watch my videos. And you may think you can trade insults with the best of them, Kent, but in my case, I've heard them all before anyway.
Come on. There's none. Nobody's ever seen this dumb religion you're talking about of an amoeba turning to a person.
Correct, they haven't. And I honestly can't think of anyone having ever said that anyway. And evolution isn't a religion, is it, you asshat? It's factual, which automatically means it can't be a religion because religion relies on belief and imagination.
See, science from the Latin word seer, which means to know. What do we know? We know cows produce cows. We've seen that. We do not know that cows came from an amoeba. Wake up, Creepy.
Oh, I'm wide awake, thanks. Yeah, I agree. We know cows produce cows, but we also know that dinosaurs roamed the earth billions of years ago. We also know that you think they lived with man. But what we don't know is what evidence there is to show us that they were here within the last 6,000 years. Do you know, it suddenly dawned on me that young Earth creationists are as stupid, and I do include you in that, Kent, and you, Matt, if not more stupid than flat earthers, and I can't even believe I'm saying that. What shape is the Earth, Kent? Let's hope you've got at least one redeeming quality.
Hey, wait.
And just to clear it up, evolution isn't our story. In fact, it isn't a story at all. It's a series of factual details that can be verified by anybody who cares to look at the information and understand it.
Okay, Creepy. Get some soup and make it come alive.
Is this how adults discuss something? You do realize that every time you say something that stupid, all you are doing is further illustrating just how ridiculous you and your beliefs are. And not to mention that it strengthens my position massively every time you say something like that.
Get some rain on the rocks and make them come alive. You say it can be verified. I want to see this happen again. Show it to me in the laboratory.
More intellectual dishonesty from Kent. What a shocking turn of events. So you're honestly asking me to demonstrate something in a laboratory that you know full well took millions of years to happen. And you think that's a reasonable request? Although I do have to say, Kent, it's a very inventive way of trying to set somebody up to fail or diverting the attention away from your own childlike, insane argument.
Make some life again. Why did it only happen once, billions of years ago?
Did you just ask why the origin of life only happened once? You call me stupid?
It should be happening all the time. There should be new life forms forming all the time.
Seems redundant to say at this point, but there are, Ken. Just because you choose to not believe that, it doesn't make it any less true.
Why doesn't it? But only once in your fairy tale, life came alive. Life started billions of years ago. Well, do it again.
Brilliant. Thanks for showing you're stupid so I don't have to keep saying it. First of all, I didn't start life, nor do I control who lives.
And once in your fairy tale, you had the amoeba turn into all the different animals. Well, get a bunch of amoeba and do it again. It's a fairy tale. It's not science.
There we have it. One of Kent's minions, demonstrating once again that young Earth morons have nothing other to offer than insults and ad hominem attack. Free at all. It's a series of factual details that can be verified by anybody who cares to look at the information and understand it. Non-young Earth creationists are just not as willing as young Earth creationists to lie to themselves and the people around them in an effort to further their own agenda. And one thing that's always puzzled me, who exactly is benefiting from all this nonsense? Of course we know who benefits, but how do they benefit? Well, religious organizations don't pay tax, do they? Just to point out one thing. But apart from the financial incentive, I can't see any way that these morons can benefit from trying to convince people that Earth is only 6,000 years old.
Well, that's a whole different topic. We can talk there if you'd like, okay? I did a whole series, my video number 1, Scientific Ways to Prove the Earth is Not Billions of Years Old. I did an interview today with a 12-year-old boy starting a channel. Matt, is that one up? That got the 12-year-old boy that we did? Matt?
What? Working with a 12-year-old boy, and you've got the cheek to call me creepy? Anyway, I can't help but notice that you didn't actually respond to my point about the financial incentives for being a religious ministry, Kent, and the fact that you don't pay taxes as a non-profit organisation. You want to answer that one, did you? Wonder why that is.
Okay. The kid said, what's the proof that the Earth is 6,000 years old? I said, well, the only evidence that would say 6,000 would be the Bible clearly teaches that. If you add up the dates in the Bible, which anybody can do, Adam was 130 when Seth was born, and he was 105. Genesis 5 gives all this stuff before the flood came. And then after the flood, you go to Genesis 11 and you get more dates. You can add up the dates in the Bible, and it comes to about 4,000 BC or 6,000 years ago. Jesus said the creation of Adam was the beginning. Creepy, was he lying?
Yes, he was, or maybe he never said it at all. Now, Jesus being real is a question that's been addressed many times, and I reserve judgment. But let me ask you this, Kent. How do you know he said it? Were you there? Did you hear him say it? Can you make him say it again in a laboratory? If not, how do you know? And please don't say that's what it says in the Bible.
Bible says clearly there was no death until Adam sinned. Nothing died before Adam sinned. Is he lying? I know you don't believe that book, but this is an important topic. But as far as scientific indicators, I told the kid today in the interview, if I told you this pen here was 4,000 years old, prove me wrong.
We didn't have pens 4,000 years ago. There we are, Kent. Proven wrong.
There's all kinds of scientific indicators that it's not billions of years old. So, creepy, get a new theory. Let's keep going here.
If you type in on the internet, you owe your life to rock, it brings up a paper called You Owe Your Life to Rock.
Well done, Matt. Yes, it does. And I've got that paper open right here on my...
I read it today very carefully. It says the rocks, where the minerals, the metals came out, is where it allowed the single cell to turn to multi-cell. So that is a critical stage in coming for humans to be formed. So Matt's right, Creepy, you're wrong. It's the rocks that we have to thank for being here.
Yeah, I know, but Matt was claiming that the paper said that we changed from rocks into human beings, and it doesn't. I know it doesn't. You know it doesn't. But it doesn't stop you from trying to use it as evidence that evolutionists think something they've done. Very honest of you both, I must say.
Go ahead.
Got that paper open right here on my computer screen. So are we going to go through that paper, which is very short, or are we just going to pick up the parts that you think you can smugly misrepresent? I know what I think. How about you?
If you were to click on that paper, the first few words of that paper are, "Thank goodness for granted."
Again, yes, Matt, those are the first few words, and I can see by that stupid look on your face that you probably didn't read much more of the paper.
Stupid look on your face. Creepy, have you ever looked in a mirror?
Loads of times, and I actually really like the guy I see looking back at me. He's honest, he's kind to people, and most importantly, he isn't a young Earth creationist. So I really don't see your point, Ken. What do you see when you look in the mirror? A lying, deceitful, abusive, tax-dodging scumbag, or something else? But I will reserve judgment for now, because I don't want to be accused of not being fair and not letting you have your say, even though anyone who has seen you before will know that every single word that is about to come out of your mouth will be a complete load of old tosh. Oh yeah, this is a really good bit. Notice that I said every word that is about to come out of Matt Powell's mouth will be a load of old tosh. Emphasis on the about two part. Listen carefully to what Kent says to defend his very special little friend.
Every word out of your mouth is a complete load of old tosh.
Every word that is about
Means a load of garbage. Really. Every word.
Every word that is about.
Matt, today is September 28th. Would you say that for me, please? Is that a load of old tosh, Creepy?
Well, if you filmed your video on September the 28th, no, it's a statement of fact, which is rare for you, Matt. But if you care to listen back, I said every word that is about to come out of Matt's mouth is a load of old tosh. And I was being very specific when I said that. But just for clarity, again, I was saying that when talking about the paper on rocks and the part they played in Evolution, I said that every word that is about to come out of Matt's mouth will be a load of old tosh. Which it was. So once again, I'm right, you're wrong, Kent. Deal with it.
This paper goes on to say that we actually owe our life to rocks that were rained on. And what happened was these granite rocks were rained on for 2 million years. And it eroded the rocks to a point where multicellular life would be able to use the chemical compounds.
This is exactly what the article said, Creepy.
And I don't disagree, Kenty. But Matt was saying that the paper said that man changed from a rock into a human being. And whether you like it or not, that paper does not say that anywhere.
And you're claiming he didn't read it all. That is what it's about.
That were eroded from the rocks to be able to come into existence.
Well, I never. That's exactly what it says. Maybe I've judged Matt Powell too harshly. Maybe I've jumped the gun a little here. Or maybe I haven't. I guess only time will tell.
We are multicellular organisms. That means that we descended from rocks.
Well, that didn't take long, did it? I have read through this paper a few times, and it doesn't actually say that we descended from rocks.
It doesn't say it in those words, but follow the logic, Creepy.
Logic. You're trying to be funny. And thanks for the admission. You're right. For once, it doesn't say it. So thanks for agreeing with me.
He gives two false options. Single cell took in metals and became multicellular. Or number two, life in shallow waters surrounding Nuna, whatever that is, was able to evolve multicellularity by making do with smaller concentrations of metals. Neither of which is true, scientifically. This is called a false dichotomy fallacy, Creepy. A false dichotomy, you give two choices, neither of which are true.
Oh yeah, and you'd know all about that, wouldn't you? They aren't my options to give. The only difference between me and Matt is that I read the same paper and understood it, which Matt probably did as well, in fairness. But the difference is that I wasn't trying to misrepresent it to further my own narrative.
I'm trying to skip a few parts just for time. I'm going to quit here in a few minutes here.
Same here, because basically all he did for the next, I think it was about 7 to 10 minutes of his video, was just show examples of really stupid things that he thinks contradict everything I say, and I'm not going to make you suffer through all that because it was really boring.
I'm going to show you what you saw what they said about you. He said, everybody send in what you think about Matt Powell. By the way, Matt, we're proud to have you on staff here. Okay, let me see if I can get them. Basically threatening. They really, here we go. If this isn't threatening, I don't know what is. Let's see.
Well, that really surprises me, Kent. A couple of things, actually. One, that you think that what these people are about to say are threats. They're not. They're just how they feel about what you, Matt Powell, and every other young Earth creationist does. And I'm surprised you don't understand what a threat is, given that you're you. With all the videos I've made about Matt Powell, I got to thinking, and I thought, I bet there are lots of people that watch me that would love to have the opportunity to address Matt, and for whatever reason, they'll never get the chance to be heard because they haven't got a YouTube channel or they don't want to, whatever. So I've invited some of my lovely subscribers to send me some clips of them letting this douche canoe know what normal everyday people think of him and his misrepresentation of science, and of course his homophobia and transphobia and so on and so forth. So here we go.
Hello, Matt. I'm making this clip to tell you that you are loved. I joined the ministry because I wanted to show the world that God is love. And then I left the ministry when I realized God's not real, especially not your God. And yet I still managed to love all mankind. Because of that love, I promise to do everything I can to stop you.
Because of that love, she's going to do, he or she, whatever it is, going to do everything.
He or she or whatever it is. Nice, Ken. If you ever were going to say anything that would highlight to people just the sort of low-life douche canoe you are, then that was probably it.
Creepy, remember, open challenge. Your name is on the list at Standing for Truth because you're a coward.
My name is on the list at Standing for Truth, Kent, because I said no, and I have already explained why. In fact, I made an entire 3-minute video to point out all the reasons why I think debating a simpleton like you, a guy who goes around with a fake doctorate claiming to know more than the entire science community combined, I've got far more important things to do. Like entertain the lovely people that watch my videos. The only reason I respond to you, Kent, is because I know it gets under your skin. So I look forward to my next feature on Whack An Atheist. Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching. And I love you. Goodbye. Except for you, Kent. You can go f*** yourself.
Alright, watch this next. But before you do, make sure you subscribe. By order of the Creaky Blinder.